that are not my friends anymore. I'm glad that you blew your cover for me to recognize that you wasn't any good to my family or me, and I appreciate y'all for that. So if I make any more new friends, I know the signs. Thank you.
You just gotta get comfortable. What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Trevi Trev, and I'm back with another video. Today I'm at the Aldi's. Y'all can't really see it in the background, but I'm at the Aldi's today because I wanted to get some fresh fruits and vegetables and things of that nature, because one of my goals going into the next year is to be very healthy and just take my fitness goals to a whole nother level. And I say that shit every year, and I do put in some work, but recently, since, getting out of military training, I just got a whole new plan. I got all these things and aspirations, and it starts with eating right and being nutritious, because when I'm at tech school, I have 3 meals a day, and I wanted to eat in between that and just stay as healthy as possible, because a lot of airmen, they tend to get fat because, they overeat, and then, we have an endless amount of options, and the defect's not too bad. But, I'm not going to be one of those airmen. I'm going to be the Batman. I'm going to be top physical shape, and I'm going to be at the top of my game more so than I've been in previous years, because I'm not living in the hood. I got resources, and now I could truly take my fitness goals and nutrition goals to the next level. But that's not the point of today's video. The point of today's video is basically making a new image for myself, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit because I had an interesting conversation with my homegirl, because recently, ever since I got back from the Air Force, I've been getting a lot of, excuse my language, but I've been getting a lot of pussy thrown my way. And I've been navigating that shit because, honestly, if I was a less disciplined man or I was younger, I would just be falling into the traps, have a kid, just be trapped, divorced, all this other nonsense that other people fall into. But, I'm older, I'm wiser, I don't fall into it. But my homegirl, I was talking to her or whatever about it because, I struggled with this in the past. So now I ask for advice and, W, maturity on my part. And basically, she was on the same shit. She tried to manipulate me, bro. She said, oh, I noticed your growth. Oh, you're so mature. And then she got to asking me about the 1776. And if y'all don't know what the 1776 is, the 1776 is basically the money that President Trump gave us if you're a service member. And, I told her that I got it because, I didn't even have to cap. I'll give Trump credit when he does well, and I'll crap on him if he does bad. But he gave us the 1776, and I told her that. And she was all on my meat, too. And, yes, she acknowledged my growth and everything like that. But it's like I saw the signs, and I just do not want to mess with this chick anymore, because that emotional manipulation made me mad. And the image that I'm trying to make for myself is I'm trying not to get into the pitfalls of that. I'm not trying to mess with these thoughts or anything. And I'm just leaving behind people like that. I got to continue the recording elsewhere because my camera died. That's how you know I'm getting back. I'm back, baby. I'm back. But the point I was trying to make is I'm leaving behind people like that because I want a better image for myself. And, people can acknowledge the growth, but if they're not trying to grow with me, I'm not trying to really be around them. And I see snakes in the grass. I see all that. And I'm thankful for having people, and I'm thankful for just it being exposed to me how fake people are, because sometimes, I used to not be able to see the signs, but now I see the signs and I cut those people right out of my freaking life. So shout outs to her because, she showed her true colors. But that's beside the point. The image that I'm trying to make for myself is I'm trying to be like more of a hero and just live up to my expectations I have for myself. Because I'm going to tell y'all something. On the video that I posted before this one and before the last video, I was talking about how I was at a family's house for Thanksgiving. And, one day I'm probably going to tell a story time about that because it is a great story to tell. But basically at that Thanksgiving, the family that I was with, it was like a military family. Sorry. It was like a military family, and their dad was like a captain in the Air Force, right? So we had him and my wingman over, and then I was just basically playing with his 2 kids, just being there for PR or whatever. But I did such a good job, and I was so nice that the little girl, he had a 6-year-old daughter, she called me like a hero. She wrote me like a letter. She did all these nice things for me. And one thing about me, when people call me a hero, it really tugs at my heartstrings, because, when I was a substitute teacher, kids would call me a hero and things like that, and it just hit different. How Deku in My Hero, when he is around All Might, his heart starts to swell because that's his idol. That's how I feel when people call me a hero, because, I wasn't always like a hero guy. I was not always a good guy. But when people tell me that, it just shows how far I've come. And it makes me really want to live up to that expectation that they have of me, because I'm not perfect. I'm human. But, you know, that's the type of image I want to be. I want to have an image to where young kids, teenagers, young adults, they look up to me and they say, yo, you know, he's a great guy. I want to be like that. So that's the image that I'm going for these days. You know, I may have these flaws or whatever, but I'm open to showing my flaws. And I'm open to being real with y'all. And, you know, my successes, my failures, I'll show them in equal measure, because, you know, that's the type of man I want to be. But a lot of people have been acknowledging my growth. Even my godmother has. And I'm just trying to change that image and just make sure I'm good, because, you know, a lot of the times in life, you know, people put on a facade, but, you know, that's not what I want to do. So going forward, I'm just going to cut people off that are bad for me. I'm just going to go more for that heroic image that can inspire people, because at the end of the day, that's all you really can do. Because you could be rich, but, you know, do you have morals? Do you inspire the next generation? You know, I was watching the Jay-Z interview and he was talking about stuff like that. So I'm kind of on that same timing. But, you know, I want to keep this video kind of short and just tell you guys, you know, I'm making a new image for myself. So you either get with it or you get lost. And that's the type of time that I'm on going into my 30s. But anyway, hopefully you guys like, comment, and subscribe. I'm done making like these kind of like, you know, welcome back kind of videos. I'm going to start covering current events or just doing story times and just make it more fun. Because honestly, when I get back to tech school, I'm going to have my computer set up. So I'm going to be doing like live streams, and I'm going to clip some of those live streams and just cover topics that way, because I want a new style besides just recording in the car. But anyway, hopefully you guys like, comment, and subscribe. My bad about the camera issues. I had to change the setting a little bit, and I'm out.